Remember, this is all happening in the midst of a government shutdown as Donald Trump's in the process of building a $300 million golden ballroom dedicated to Jeffrey Epstein as he's, globe-trotting around the world, receiving lavish golden gifts from world leaders all over the place.
With respect to SNAP funding in particular, it is a conscious, deliberate choice that the administration is making to not release the funds that have been appropriated for that purpose. That is why 26 states are suing the Trump administration and Secretary Rollins. Does anyone here not believe that with one phone call from Speaker Johnson, one phone call to the President of the United States or the Secretary of Agriculture, that those funds would be released tomorrow? Yes. And that families wouldn't go starving by the weekend? So I think it's important to dispense with again, rationalizations and excuses that Republicans have offered. They have made this choice. They know it. We know it. The American people know it as well.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Dollemore Daily. I'm Boston Brian, host of Blunt Politics, and I shall be your captain for just a little while longer as Jesse continues to make his trek back from Japan. We're going to be diving into the conversation here of SNAP benefits. It's not often that I get to applaud Democrats for their straightforward, in-your-face rhetoric and getting in front of all of these, propagandistic talking points from the Republicans. But this is one of those instances in which I am very happy to see that both House and Senate Democrats using their time in front of the cameras today, to do just that, to get out the points that they wanted to make sure the American people know exactly why 40 million Americans are going to lose their ability to put food on the table because Donald Trump and Republicans refuse to use the emergency powers in order to continue to fund SNAP benefits. You heard in the beginning Joe Nagus, I believe from Colorado, coming and pointing out, the hypocrisies. He continues to do so here in this next clip. Again, very important that we continue to point out not only Donald Trump's treks around the world that he's on, but also the money that he's been feeding to places like Argentina, the ways he's been hurting people in this country like farmers, like immigrants, what he's been doing to the economy as far as tariffs. It's very important we continue to highlight these things, and it's very important that Democrats, especially those in front of the cameras, continue to be straightforward in their talking points, in their rhetoric, making sure the American people have absolutely no questions as to why, again, 40 million Americans will be struggling to put food on the table. Here's another clip from Congressman Joe Nagus, again, bringing up that exact fact. Listen to this clip. Check it out. And let me know what you think.
And for my Republican colleagues who suggest all sorts of fanciful rationales for why the administration has been unwilling to do so, I would just simply say it is outrageous that the Trump administration can come up with $40 billion to bail out Argentina and refuses to spend the money that Congress has appropriated to feed hungry families in America. Outrageous. And House Democrats won't stand for it.
And here's yet another Democrat who's under constant threat, constant attack by people like Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Donald Trump, and the rest of the Republican gang. Governor J.B. Pritzker, who's been doing a fantastic job at combating Donald Trump and his bullshit, at least rhetorically at this point, which is pretty much all we can do. But he's doing a great job here in this next clip, laying it on the line for the American people, spitting it out as clearly and as plainly as humanly possible so people can understand who has the power in this position and exactly who to blame when, again, people go hungry, as we see $40 billion plus be sent to places like Argentina, as we see a $300 million gold ballroom that should be dedicated, at least in my opinion, to the 1 million Americans that lost their lives because of Donald Trump's incompetence in handling COVID when he was president in his first term. But that's another conversation for another time. But here's J.B. Pritzker again, laying it on the line for the American people to hear very plainly, very clearly, which is exactly what we need in this moment here. Check it out. And just to give you something to compare what we've heard so far to, just to give you a little juxtaposition, just so you can hear what it sounds like when you're a boot-licking, ass-kissing, mealy-mouthed moron like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is, when you'd rather, obfuscate, when you'd rather, deflect from the question of, again, 40 million Americans possibly going hungry, when you'd rather, kiss the boot of Donald Trump and praise him for these fake, made-up accomplishments that he supposedly is going around the world touting to all these other countries that actually know better, that actually point and laugh as soon as Donald Trump leaves the room. But again, just so you can hear the difference in between, the straightforward rhetoric from the Democrats telling you exactly how it is, and then compare that to, people like Mike Johnson and the rest of these, again, sycophantic Republicans who, again, would rather dodge the question only to praise their dear leader as opposed to answer the real pressing issues faced by the American people. But again, here's Mike Johnson, and you can compare that to what we've heard so far.
So many Americans right now. How do you justify the administration giving this big, massive bailout to Argentina, as well as calling for an increase in beef imports from Argentina?
Look, we give foreign policy, the execution of foreign policy, to the executive branch, and that's what the president is doing right now. There's lots of nuances about that. He's involved in negotiating trade agreements around the country to the great success and benefit of the American people right now. Dozens of them being worked out. He's overseas right now doing the same thing. And what he accomplished in Japan is a remarkable thing for the American people. And by the way, they've agreed to invest $550 billion into America, and that's good for everyone. So I can't get into the nuances of every single trade agreement with every country around the world, but we're going to trust the president to do what he's doing. He's had a remarkable track record of success for the American people, and nobody in this room can refute it. So I'm going to leave it right there.
He's just the most pathetic excuse for a man that I know. He's just a lying, greasy, weaselly piece of shit that is out there with a smile on his face doing Donald Trump's bidding. As again, he deflects and obfuscates away from the question about 40 million Americans that are about to lose their SNAP benefits, as $40 billion is being sent to places like Argentina. And again, this administration who came in touting, this incredible win in the election and the overwhelming mandate and the fact that they were going to be able to do anything and everything they wanted without the help or assistance or recommendations of the Democrats. And again, that doesn't seem to be the position that they find themselves in. That lie went out the window real quick to their voters. And now we're heading into day 30 of the government shutdown. But again, you can hear the difference, which kind of brings us back to the Senate Democrat portion of this video, where again, both House and Senate Democrats were out there telling it as it is, putting it on the line, letting the American people know exactly who has the power here and exactly who could change this policy if they so choose. Ed Markey calling it a moral failure, a failure of this government, and just the prime example of incompetency shown by not only the Republicans in the House and the Senate, but also the leadership from Donald Trump and the sycophants surrounding him. But again, here's Ed Markey. Let me know what you think. Again, love when Democrats speak plainly, when they put it on the line like this, when they don't beat around the bush, when they don't, put it into this political jargon, none of this bullshit that's been kind of looked over by 14 different assistants and made to, sound perfect. Just come out there, lay it on the line, speak from the heart, tell it how it is, and the American people will respect you more for it. But again, here's Ed Markey putting it on the line. Let's check it out. Let me know what you think.
This moment isn't just an economic failure. This isn't just a civic failure. This is an utter moral failure for the Trump administration and MAGA Republicans. The president could choose to end this crisis today with just one vote. Republicans could restore health care and food assistance for millions of families across our country and reopen the government. Just one vote. But the president can use his emergency power to solve the health care problems that are going to be created by the food crisis. And he can do it right now, and he should do it.
I might be a little biased in this discussion, but I just feel like it's people from New England that have an easier time speaking more bluntly, more clearly, and directly to the point, as Ed Markey did in that clip we just saw. But, even people like, Democratic Senator from Vermont, Peter Welch, were out there using his time in front of the camera, using his time at the podium very wisely to make it very clear to the American people what's going on here and how this isn't attached to the government shutdown and could be funded through other means, and it just takes the will of the president, the will of the Republicans to care about their American constituents who are going to, again, struggle to put food on the table in order to lift a finger, in order to get to the negotiating table, in order to make a change in this policy so we don't see exactly that on top of all of the other moral and ethical failures from this government, both domestic and abroad. But again, here's Democratic Senator from Vermont, Peter Welch, again, following the line of both the House and Democratic senators of getting out there in front of the cameras and making sure the American people are well informed and are up to date and up to speed on how this is going and why people will suffer and who is responsible for that suffering.
Thank you, Bernie, for calling this. Number one, this is not about the shutdown. You know, many of you who've asked us, are you getting pressure? Because now SNAP benefits are going to expire, and therefore, shouldn't you reopen government? That is a fair question, but there's a clear answer. This has nothing to do with the shutdown. The law requires, and the funds are available to continue SNAP right now without any interruption. So that is a decision that the president is making on his own, to allow people to go hungry when he has the power to continue the SNAP benefits that folks desperately need.
Remember, this is all happening in the midst of a government shutdown as Donald Trump's in the process of building a $300 million golden ballroom dedicated to Jeffrey Epstein, as he's already turned the White House into some Tibu Liberace-looking studio, as he's, globe-trotting around the world, receiving lavish golden gifts from world leaders all over the place, as he's making almost $900 million on his crypto scam, his unregulated crypto scam. I mean, the list just goes on as how the optics of this just continue to get worse and worse, especially with somebody that claims to have so much power. To look this feckless, to look this, incompetent, and corrupt is it's really a feat to see. But again, I really do appreciate the Democrats, both in the House and the Senate, coming out, laying it on the line, making sure people know just how ridiculous this looks, knowing just who has the power and knowing, who to blame when, again, you are struggling to put food on the table, when you're struggling to feed your family, when you're struggling to feed your kids, when you're, a soybean farmer going out of business, watching Donald Trump send $40 billion to Argentina as China's buying all the Argentinian soybean, again, harming more farmers in this country, as we're seeing immigrants and United States citizens rounded up by the dozens, as we're seeing this government randomly pick off and kill people, 60 at this point, people in fishing boats in international water without any evidence to suggest that they are anything other than just fishermen at this point. But as all that's going on, we still have the president who does not give a shit about anybody but himself and does not care to look out for his constituents or anybody in this country, until or unless it's profitable to him. And that's just not what's going on in this case. But I do appreciate you guys. Once again, thanks to Jesse for allowing me to fill in for him as he makes his way back from Tokyo. Thank you guys for your support and your patience along this journey. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. That would be a big boost for Jesse to continue to see subscribers filling in as he's coming back into the country. And if you would be kind enough to please head over to Blunt Politics at my channel over there on Boston Brian, on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, the whole 9 yards, Blue Sky. Please follow me where you can. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. I'll see you and catch you on the next one. Make sure you're kicking ass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get out there, stay loud, stay proud, find your nearest protest, find your nearest rally. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We got the momentum. Let's carry it into the midterms and take down this buffoon.